Welcome back to Sunrise Today. Well, it was not long ago when the Chief Justice of Nigeria did tell justices of the Court of Appeal to stop giving conflicting judgments. But many were surprised when they heard that, but many were not, and there was mixed feelings about it. Well, that's what we focus on. We're starting with that this morning, and who better to talk about it than Mr. Robert Clarke, a senior advocate of Nigeria, legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning, sir.
It's always my pleasure.
Well, when the CJN said that, and many looked at it and said, Court of Appeal giving conflicting judgments, how serious is this?
Well, let me put it this way. I was really happy when it occurred because it's been long overdue. And when the CJ made it the front burner issue, I was excited because it gives a leeway to people like us who have inhibitions about what was going on, now to be able to say things out and loud so that the established lawyers, the top established lawyers, will not look at us as rebels trying to run down the judiciary. Since it has come from the CJN, it was welcomed by many of us, and we are ready now to talk about it.
One wonders, because it's even more, perhaps for want of words, more prominent. Or the attention is so much on it now that election petition cases are going on. And then he's talked about the precedents, justice being seen to have been done. But from the way it's going, you'll expect that, or he will also expect that Court of Appeal justices should know better. But can there be any specific case that you like to look at?
Well, before I go into a specific case in which I was personally involved, let me look at the general concept so that people like you, who are not lawyers, will appreciate what we mean by conflicting judgments. You see, the hierarchy of courts in Nigeria is part of the bedrock of our judicial system. That is, when the apex court declares a position of law on a given issue, that position is sacrosanct. Any other court below it, whether it was rightly done or wrong, must adhere to it until the apex court reverses that principle of law. Therefore, when you look at other areas of law outside politics today, and you look at the criminal justices, you look at the civil cases, you look at maritime cases, most of the judgments are all settled. So that as a young lawyer, if you are going to the Federal High Court to determine a maritime case, you only need to look at a Supreme Court judgment or a Court of Appeal judgment where that position of law had been canvassed. You relate it to your facts, and you are sure that when you cite it before the judge, you are confident at least that you will win your case. But that is not the case in Nigeria today. I'm sorry to say that. Any brilliant lawyer, no matter how brilliant, when you are entering the courts on political cases today, you are not sure of what you are going to meet. That is the first bad side of it. Now, if other areas of the law, principles have been settled, you can hardly find what we lawyers call gray areas of law. That is, an area that has not been determined. It's very rare nowadays that to say, oh, when you talk about rape, the principle, all those areas have been looked into, and it's been well settled. Why is it that it's in politics and political cases that there are these conflicting? That is the issue. What is the cause? Democracy has been with us for 17 years now. So you cannot say the courts have not been handling enough of election matters to have settled. And there are no new areas coming out in election matters. Overvoting, toggery, whatever you say, they are all there.
What about the card reader?
Card reader has just come in, so one can give an excuse on that. But that is not the only area of conflict. And that is why I said I will talk about a particular one where I was involved, and I was shocked that the Court of Appeal could reject that principle of law that has been stabilized by the Supreme Court. So these are the areas. So when the CJ now, and you can't blame him, it's becoming too much. It's becoming too much.
But you're not talking about a recent experience, is it?
A recent experience, as about 2 months ago.
Involving issues of card reader?
No, not card reader. This one is who is an expert witness in an election petition. It's well settled. Until today, you still have conflicting, rulings from different divisions.
All of that affects judicial precedents.
Oh yes.
But when you say the most brilliant of lawyers, when you get into the court, at least if we were looking at judicial precedents, that should have also been some kind of guide to letting you have an idea of the outcome of that particular proceeding or judgment. But the way it is now, if we go by what the CJN has said, that hasn't helped matters by having these conflicting judgments from the justices. His statement that he made at the start of this year, can it help reverse this particular trend, or do we have a body other than the CJN that can put these things in better perspective so that we don't get into some kind of jeopardy in the law courts?
Now, you ask yourself, why should the CJ make such a profound statement? If not because it is getting to a state of anarchy, and the damage is being done to the judicial system, and the gossips are so many. I can assure you, 80% of top lawyers in Nigeria know today the problem we have in the judiciary. They will not say it out. Maybe people like us can say it out. Age is on our side. Maybe I have 2 more years, I'll be 80 years old. What am I looking forward to impress? Whom am I going to impress? So I can say it as it is, and I will damn the consequence. I can assure you 80% of top lawyers know that the judiciary today is not what we met. And if nothing is done to it, it will collapse. And it will collapse on our head.
How come? Why do things degenerate?
Let me give you two reasons. One, the way judges are being appointed. Politicians appoint judges. It's all over the world this is being done. So it's not only in Nigeria. Judges are appointed, recommendation of the judicial board by the governor in the state. Court of Appeal judges are appointed, on recommendation board by the president. Justices of the Supreme Court are recommended but are appointed by the president. So the political consideration outweighs all other considerations. So a political appointment, appointing a judge, presupposes that maybe that judge will dance to the tune of the politics of the day. But that is not what is happening in civilized countries. The Chief Justice of America today did not come through the system. He was handpicked outside the system by Judge Bush. One of the landmark cases delivered in American Supreme Court, based on ideological, Obama's health care, the man who gave the deciding this in Robert was appointed by a Republican president. But he never looked at that in determining, why can't we have such things in Nigeria? Again, appointment is there. Secondly, the caliber of judges. I always hate to say this, but I have to say it now, because it's part of the root causes. Gone are the days when you can point at the Supreme Court, you point 2, 3, or 4 fantastic judges, that when you read their judgments, you will be proud to be a lawyer. I am sorry to say today, very, very sorry to say, except for 1, 2, or 3 in the Supreme Court today, there's no judgment you can now take and feel, oh, this is a fantastic judge. I am saying it.
Even from the Supreme Court?
Oh, yes, and I am bold to say it. And my colleagues will confirm this, that the best brains are still there, I know. But gone are those days when you will see people like Ogundare, late Ogundare, Whoever asks is being God, he holds no excuse for it. He says it as it is. Nikki Toby, you read their judgments, but gone are those days. Why? Why? Then you ask yourself, and the system is the main reason. You have a system where promotion from the lower courts are being made based on geographical spread and seniority, not on merit. If you enter the judiciary in Lagos State today and you expect to spend 25 years, you will know whether you are going to be a CJ or not. Because you look at the list of those before you, you know when they are going to retire, you know when you are going to retire, you know whether you'll be a Supreme Court judge or not. In the Supreme Court today, we can tell you who is going to be the CJ for the next 20 years from the list of those who are there. The rate of progress is not determined by any sense of, activism in the judicial dispensation.